I guess it's kind of official. I have had a quadruple bypass surgery, and there's the proof. Pretty gnarly. So anyway, I just thought I'd make a quick video, kind of letting you guys know why I haven't made a video lately. And the other thing is I just wanted to kind of talk about a little bit about nutrition, health, that sort of thing, from the perspective of a software developer, because honestly, we're in this sedentary position for the majority of the day. And, you know, I see a lot of different things among developers. There's certainly no monolith when it comes to diet and that sort of thing when it comes to developers. I see people who do a vegan diet, and I see others who, have, other diets like a keto diet or something like along those lines. It's really interesting to me. I made a couple of mistakes and miscalculations on my diet. I've had to adjust my diet a couple of different times because of certain health problems I've had, like, the beginning stages of kidney disease. Now I have arterial heart disease, um, I guess, technically speaking. And so I have to change my diet. But the one thing that I didn't realize was the role that fats play in your diet. And, obviously, we're talking you should be offsetting, with healthy fats rather than unhealthy fats as much as you possibly can. And it gives you a whole lot of energy. There's like, wow, there's a lot of energy when you can have a high fat diet, especially with like your good fats, right? And the thing is, my mistake was, when I had to cut down on my proteins. So, added, a lot of vegetables, which is great. But then I also added other carbohydrates. That wasn't so great. And so there's a few other things that caused me to have heart problems that was strictly, related to diet. I've seen a lot of really interesting things though in the last few years. I've been a software developer. I have friends who are vegetarian or vegan, and they have all sorts of health problems. Even though I've also seen the vegan diet work really, really well. And the reason for that is I think that you have to know an incredible amount about nutrition in order for the vegan or vegetarian diet to work properly. Otherwise, you are going to suffer a whole bunch of health problems and a lot of, unintended consequences. My dietitian, she kept, kind of insisting that I cut down on my fats and things like that. Yeah, that really didn't do me very good because I ended up having to have open heart surgery. At 47 years old, this is really just crazy to me. And so it's one of those things where it's one of those things where we get told in junior high school, the table, with the fats up on top and the cereals on the bottom, and you're supposed to eat more cereals than fats, and and somewhere in the middle is like the protein and stuff. And like literally, if you just flipped it upside down, I think you would have better optimal health for the most part. And the other thing that, was lacking in my daily routine, I think that I will have to actually incorporate into my daily routine is a little daily exercise. I'm an avid cyclist, and so like I go out quite a bit on my bicycle. And this is kind of how this whole thing started anyway, was I started having, angina, these symptoms of angina, and I'm like, what's that coming from? Like I would be kind of like blacking out and, breaking out in a sweat, whenever I would exert myself, and then, go away as soon as I quit exerting myself. It was like really weird kind of thing. And I talked to my dad about it, who's a nurse, and he's like, yeah, that sounds like angina. It doesn't sound good. And so I went and got a angiogram, and yeah, they were like, yeah, we're not letting you out of the hospital unless it's to go to another hospital to have your surgery done because you're going to have a quadruple bypass surgery. I thought that was kind of crazy to me because I didn't think I would ever have to do that. I didn't think I'd ever have to go through that kind of a surgery. I was like, Jesus, is this one of those things that's just mind boggling to me? The idea that I could have to undergo a major surgery like that, especially before I'm 50. So, the main culprit in all of this is primarily genetics. My family suffers from heart disease on both sides of my family, both my mom and my dad's side. And so, my grandfather, for example, had his first bypass when he was 53, which isn't too much older than I am. And he lived quite a long life. He lived into his 90s, and my other grandfather, he died at 57 of a massive coronary. And so, yeah, it's something that's really real and something that I have to face, but I'm really hopeful that I'm going to be able to handle this. And so it's really interesting because I have to make a lot of adjustments into my diet, how I do things, and this like straight regimen of never eating anything naughty or something like this is not really that realistic in my view. Maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't think that like I live in Mexico, so like when we go out for tacos or something, it's not like I'm not going to be eating tacos, right? I'm not going to go over and, sometimes I might go, yeah, I think I prefer salad. I may even do that half the time. But there's that other half the time I'm going to be like, yeah, those tacos de cabeza or, de carnaza or something like that. It's like, oh no, that's something that's real. Like that has a very, very strong appeal to my palate. And so it's going to be really hard to like always be giving that up. And I'm not sure I would reap a real high benefit from that. So I see a lot of software engineers and developers, and they have quite of an interesting look on health, and that sort of thing, and they should. I think most developers are very smart people, and so they can decide for themselves what's best for them, that sort of thing, right? And so I'm not trying to suggest that they wouldn't, but here's something to think about, at least from my view, is I see a lot of people, they'll tank up on certain carbohydrates such as white rice, and white rice is really not good for you. Now, I would honestly, if you're going to eat rice, I would think that whole grain rice would be slightly better than white rice. But I mean, your carbohydrates, you should be consuming them with vegetables, at least from my understanding, right? And this is where I have to cut certain things out, and I have a pretty good idea of what the length that I'm going to go to and what I need to cut out to keep this from ever happening again. And my whole idea is that if I cut out, probably 80% of my carbohydrates, you know, apart from the vegetables that I consume, um, I should be pretty good to go. And so that means I have to take, I like bread a lot. I love to bake and do those things, but a lot of those things are going to have to be cut out. Now, I can have a slice of bread once in a while or a sandwich once in a while, but for the most part, I have to cut the majority of it out. And the other thing that I've decided is just to cut out all snacks. So, like a lot of those snack foods, whether you're talking about like Fritos or something like that, Cheetos or something, like a lot of those, they're gonna leave a lot of plaque inside your arteries because it has nowhere else to go. And there's very, very few things that you can eat in your diet that will actually consume that plaque. So there's that too. Um, lot of things to consider. And so I was just thinking, wow, I could possibly make a video about this, what would be informative to someone, you know, and diet is one of those things, diet and exercise is one of those things where everybody has the right answer, supposedly, right? There's like the keto diet, and I didn't think I could do the keto diet. I actually am implementing a certain style of keto where I allow a very, very small portion of carbohydrates that aren't in the form of vegetables. I'm also limiting the amount of proteins and that sort of thing, and I'm increasing fats. And so, what does that mean? Well, so if I have like a side of, a salad, for example, with a main course, say, I don't know, chicken wings or something. So I put a couple of slices of avocado into my salad, and then that increases the fat intake quite a bit, but it's good fats. And I could also put, some sort of nuts or something inside that salad as well. And um, it's just something that I've been working on for a while, and it seems to give me a lot of really good energy, and it seems to keep me going. I know a lot of doctors would probably and dietitians would probably disagree with me, but the fact of the matter is this top-down approach where you have minimal fats and you have a whole bunch of carbohydrates, that's not working for me. And I don't think that works for very many people. So, anyway, that's my thoughts for today. And so, I'm still on my road to recovery. I have some really good content coming out, though, really soon that I've been working on, or at least trying to work on. And so, I hope everybody just has a great day and, take care of yourself. Take your diet really seriously. Like I said, you could be me, 47, and having to go through this whole ordeal. I can tell you this: it has not been anything fun. They took took an artery out of my arm, took part of an artery and a vein out of my leg. This is not fun. They had to do a lot of different things to, make this bypass happen. It was, about a 6 hour surgery. They, broke my sternum. I had open heart surgery, the whole 9 yards. It's pretty crazy stuff, to be honest. So anyway, so I just implore you, take a deep thought about your health. If you know a lot about nutrition and you want to go on the vegan or vegetarian diet, by all means go for it. I'm not trying to stop you. But if you don't know that much about nutrition, you're probably going to do way more harm than if you would have just been eating meat. That's my personal belief. And I think that there's a lot of evidence to support that. Anyway, Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll see you on the next one. All right. All right.